everybody. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. I did. It's the Craig Carton Show. That guy over there is miserable. Is Tyrone A. Johnson. Miserable. Why? Because he's living in a world in which my New York Knickerbockers have had, not even debatably, not for conjecture, not because I'm a fan, the most dominant run to an NBA final in the history of the NBA, dating all the way back to when it was a game played by suburban white guys exclusively, or inner city fellas that no one ever heard of exclusively. 1920 to 2026, and guess what? The New York Knicks are the most dominant team in the history of the NBA when it comes to the voyage from day one of the playoffs to the NBA Finals. And now they're 4 wins away from capping off what will be the greatest, most historical run to a championship, not there yet, in the history of the NBA. Something that the Steph Curry Golden State Warriors didn't do. Something that the Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal Lakers didn't do. Something the Larry Bird Celtics didn't do. Something the, Bill Russell Celtics didn't do.
Jordan Bulls.
Something the Jordan Bulls didn't do. Something LeBron's never come close to doing, of course. The most dominant,
I don't know why you threw that,
dominant playoff run of all time. Come get some.
Yeah, I'm not happy about this at all, and it's not good for the world. It's not good. This is a net negative for society at large. Knicks fans are too happy, okay? The world is built on Knicks fans for over 50 years being disappointed. That's how the earth tilts the way that it does, just so. That's why we had such bad weather over Memorial Day weekend. The Knicks are not supposed to be this good. It's bad for the world.
Yeah, well, they are this good, and another beatdown last night. If I may be fair, look, I'm going to give the Knicks all the credit. I think when teams do what they've done, they deserve credit for it.
Yeah.
And the dominant run, starting in Atlanta, going to Philadelphia, sweep. Obviously, going to Cleveland, sweep. Is something that should be marveled at, and something that we'll teach our kids about in history books when we stop teaching them how a man can become a woman and actually spend our time in schools teaching kids the important things of life, like how to play dominant basketball. That being said, the Cavaliers embarrassed themselves also, and it takes two to tango. And as soon as the Knicks got a lead last night, it was a wrap. There was no fight whatsoever. Maybe Donovan Mitchell a little bit, but no fight whatsoever. And I've always said, there's an old saying, Tyrone, I'm not sure if you've heard of it before, that a fish stinks from the head down.
Yes.
It's an old saying. It's like an Italian saying, right? That means Kenny Atkinson.
Yep.
And I like Kenny Atkinson. I thought Kenny Atkinson was a damn good coach prior to this series. Obviously, wins a Game 7 against Orlando, wins a Game 7 against Detroit,
on the road,
and then winds up in the Eastern Conference Finals, where, to be fair, maybe outside of Cleveland, no one expected them to go. But I know in Cleveland, they thought when they got James Harden, they now had the goods to go.
Yep.
Here's the problem, which is why I say that a fish stinks from the head down. He had the balls after Game 3, prior to the sweep last night, to say that analytically the Cavs were up 2-1, maybe 3-0. And that's everything wrong with sports today and the analytical world we're living in, where you got embarrassed. And not just that, they got embarrassed at home in a deciding game, a game to keep their season alive and at least have of self-respect. And after the game, all Kenny Atkinson could say was, analytically, we were just as good, if not better. And the problem with that is that that's trickle-down economics. That trickled down to your favorite player, James Harden.
My favorite player.
Who had the balls to say after the sweep and the embarrassment that yesterday's game was, I think we're the better team.
Yeah, I think we have that.
Do we have that video?
Yeah, we have it.
Here's James Harden after being embarrassed at home and losing by 90 to end their season. Listen to this. Go ahead.
How much better, if they're better, are the Knicks than you guys?
I mean, I can't even answer that question, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, they dominated us 4-0. But, yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily answer that question. Just because genuinely I do feel like we are the better team. But, you know, series-wise, it didn't show it. So it's a tough question to answer.
Interesting, isn't it? Interesting.
What the hell's wrong with this guy?
I think we're actually the better team.
What's wrong with him?
He's like, I know we got swept.
Got dominated.
I know we got embarrassed. I know we got dominated. But at the end of the day, I think we're the better team. Like, other than game one, where they blew a 22-point lead.
If you want to say
with 7 minutes to go.
If you want to say that,
yes,
we were the better team that night. We should have won. If you want to say that about game one, fine.
I can accept that, by the way.
But they got demolished games 2, 3, and 4. You blew the 20-plus point lead with the coach doing a bunch of nothing. You got stinking James Harden once again, and I've been trying to tell the world about James Harden for a long time. This dude is just made of loser. Like, you just made of loser, down to his bone marrow. Very talented. Does a lot of great things. But he's made out of loser first. Underneath that beard is just a bunch of L's. He's made of loser, and he can't help himself but to do stupid, say loser
but that
things
starts
after the
with
game.
that comment starts with Kenny Atkinson, who actually said after game 3, we've beaten them analytically. And everybody said, like, what the F are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
You don't win games analytically.
No.
And now Kenny Atkinson has to go.
He cannot.
Kenny Atkinson, I want to be very clear.
I said it after game one.
There was a day when I wanted Kenny Atkinson to be the Knicks head coach. I thought he was a great head coach on a team without a superstar. Obviously, the Knicks now have a superstar, and his name is Jalen Brunson. He's the Conference Finals MVP, and obviously unanimous and well-deserving. But Kenny Atkinson can't coach no more.
Nope.
Kenny Atkinson cannot be trusted with an NBA franchise. So I think the Knicks deserve all their flowers. I'm obviously going to be obnoxious and give them all their flowers.
You should.
Because the New York Knicks, it is the most, not just the most dominant playoff run. It is now, some guy put it out there, officially from a statistical standpoint, the greatest 12-game run, regular season or postseason, in the history of the great game of basketball, as you know. So they get all their flowers, okay? But the flip side is we won the games analytically? I've heard a lot of stupid things. I'm a Jet fan.
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. Right?
Yeah.
I've never heard something that stupid and something that tone deaf in my life. And I like Kenny Atkinson. And I like Donovan Mitchell. I told you from Jump Street, Jared Allen was soft, and he came up soft. This is a bad basketball team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I didn't realize
they're not a bad team.
Bad basketball team.
They're not as good as the Knicks.
Highest payroll in the sport. And they're going to have to blow it up. Donovan Mitchell's not signed his extension. James Harden has a player option.
No, he's opting out, and apparently he's going to sign for less money to pave the way in Cleveland. He's going to take less money in Cleveland to pave the way
for LBJ coming back?
For LeBron to return to take on the Knicks again next season, and I can't wait for it.
Good.
With a different coach, LeBron will not tolerate going to a team
By the
Kenny
way,
Atkinson is the coach.
LeBron will have the same success he's had in L.A. None whatsoever.
Yeah,
so
I don't believe that.
I hope LeBron James goes to Cleveland, and I hope the Cavs get the Knicks in the postseason. We'll worry about that next year.
Yeah, with a new coach.
The focus today is, of course, the fact that the New York Knicks, for the second time this postseason, now have to wait 9 days. Now have to wait another 9 days. The NBA Finals don't start till June 3rd. Tonight's Game 5. That's a great series already. Thunder and Spurs tied at 2-2. So Game 5, the pivotal Game 5 tonight. And the Knicks just get to sit back and relax now. That was not to their benefit, the way they opened up Game 1 against the Cavs. They clearly were out of sync. But they have not lost the game now in over a month. They are right now. I know people are going to tell me the Thunder. I'm not going to argue against it. I know a lot of people, because of Wemby, going to tell me the Spurs. The way it sits right now today, the New York Knicks are the best team in the NBA. Now, we can worry about who they have to play against when we get that far, but to the victor go the spoils. And that means another 9 days of rest for the Eastern Conference champions. And for now, the best team in the NBA. Suck it, Philly. We're the kings of the East. You follow us. We don't follow you. Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Still basking in the glory of another 40-point win by my Knickerbockers last night. I can tell you this. Obviously, I've been a Knicks fan since birth. I was not old enough to appreciate 1973, but I was old enough to appreciate the New York Knicks making 2 NBA Finals runs, obviously 1994 against the Rockets, 1999 against the San Antonio Spurs. 94, of course, was marred because of the OJ chase.
That's right.
That we all had to watch. So I was getting a lap dance in my apartment in Corman Suites in Philadelphia with a bunch of buddies.
What? Why?
What happened?
Why were you having...
Is there a better way to enjoy an NBA Finals game than getting a lap dance in your own apartment?
Well, if you want to concentrate...
Huh? Concentrate. I'm concentrated. Over to the right, honey. Yeah, it's like I'm concentrating. Yeah.
Yeah, not on the game.
No, I was concentrating on the game, and then OJ's chase takes over. Bob Costas going, we need to break into an NBA Finals game because OJ Simpson's in a white Ford Bronco without cowlings.
That's right.
Meanwhile, I'm getting a lap dance anyway, so all good by me.
All right.
It was one of the great memories I had of Philadelphia. Yeah, we dated for 3 months, matter of fact.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You started dating the person that was giving you the lap dance?
That's right, for 3 months.
So wait a minute.
She told me she would cheat on me with any living member of Duran Duran, though. So at least she was honest about it.
Yeah, but you were paying her that day, or someone was paying her.
I didn't pay her.
Somebody was paying her.
She came over to the crib, watched the NBA Finals, give some lap dances. Pay her. I didn't pay her. I mean, I bought dinner and drinks, yes. If that counts as payment, then I paid.
So you mean to tell me out in these streets, at least back in the day, these hoes was passing out lap dances? Hoes, yeah.
Excuse me, Tyrone.
Yeah, these hoes.
Nice, educated women
Was she educated?
making a little money on the side.
These hoes was passing out lap dances for real, these hoes.
I find that term to be objectionable, sir.
Well, I'm saying.
I watched the OJ chase and the Knicks-Rockets NBA Finals game in 1994.
And those hoes in the 90s.
From the living room of my apartment at Corman Suites on Spring Garden Street in Philadelphia, while getting a lap dance. That's right. And the lap dance was not as distracting as the car chase was.
But
oh, look, he's driving 10 miles an hour. Like Miss Daisy's in the car. Like, what are we doing?
You got to stop. That was a big deal at the time. All right?
By the way, do you know the side story? I said this on the radio the other day.
No.
That during the broadcast, it's a true story. Bob Costas has told me this story publicly, so I'm not saying anything out of school here. So while OJ's in the white Bronco with Al Cowlings, right?
Yeah.
He calls up NBC Sports. Obviously, he had been an analyst, pardon me, and for football, right? Mm-hmm. And he calls up the NBC switchboard during the game from the White Bronco, and he says, "Patch me through to Bob Costas." And they're like, "Yeah, okay." Click. He calls back again.
This was OJ,
and he goes, "It's O.J. Simpson. I need to talk to Bob Costas."
Yeah.
Now, Bob was at the Garden. They were not in the studio, so there was no way to reach him. Unless, I guess, he had a cell phone on him, I suppose, right?
Yeah, back then, yeah.
And the cell phones were kind of rudimentary back then, but they did exist, right? Mm-hmm. So, again, the switchboard operator's like, "Yeah, you're O.J. Simpson, and I'm President Kennedy." Click. Hangs up again. Now, Bob Costas had no idea that OJ was trying to reach him during the telecast from the car.
That would have been great for the telecast.
Amazing.
Would have been to get a commentary from the juice in the
so
car.
As the story goes, in the first week or so, that OJ's now in lockup. Okay, so after the White Bronco chase, obviously, he summons Bob Costas to come to prison to talk to him. Now, what's Bob supposed to do? He's a colleague, obviously, at NBC, and this is the biggest story in the world, so he decides to say yes. I'm not sure if it was Al Cowlings or not, it might have been, that goes to Bob's hotel, picks him up, drives him to the prison, they get him into the prison, and then he sits there one-on-one with O.J. Simpson. And that's when O.J. tells him the story. "Bob, I tried to call you during the chase."
That would have been great.
And Bob had no idea that he was trying to make that call. So, as if the spectacle wasn't big enough, and obviously it was one of the most amazing, not in a good way, but one of the most amazing moments, I think, in sports television history.
Yeah.
That here we have an NBA final, a New York Knicks team trying to win their first title at the time in 21 years, right, 73 to 94. Yeah. And obviously the Rockets trying to win a title, and that's Olajuwon and Kenny Smith and that great team, right? And O.J. Simpson's got a gun to his head, and he decides to call Bob Costas during the broadcast.
That's incredible.
Crazy story.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's
so
a
in
great
any
story.
event, that's what I was doing during the NBA Finals. I obviously will not be doing that this year during the NBA Finals. As a happily married man with 4 beautiful children,
no hose.
I will be at games 3 and 4 on the wood, and games 1 and 2 I'll be watching from my house with my family.
Yeah, but
June 3rd, June 5th. First 2 games, whoever it is, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, will be there. Games 3 and 4 going to be at Madison Square Garden now. Check this out. Last year's Super Bowl, okay, the get-in price for the Super Bowl, meaning worst seat in the house, but you're in the stadium for the Super Bowl, was about $3,200 and change, okay? That was a day of game, worst ticket in the place. Lowest price, get-in price, right?
Right.
Do you know right now, for game 3, the get-in price, meaning the worst seat in Madison Square Garden, is $3,600?
Wow.
So a ticket for game 3 of the NBA Finals, and we don't even know they're going to play yet. If it's Wemby, that might go up.
Yeah.
By the way, okay?
Yeah, if it's Wemby.
Is now more expensive than a Super Bowl ticket last year. That's how crazy the ticket prices are right now for the NBA Finals at the Garden. Obviously, it'll be less for the Thunder or the Spurs, but in New York City, a city starving for an NBA championship, it is now essentially $4,000 for the worst seat. And Darren Ravel put out over the weekend that somebody bought for game 3 already 2 courtside seats for $250,000.
Wow. Wow. So
let that sink in.
That's insane.
For a basketball game.
Right. And I think everybody would have to agree that with this amount of hype and all of that, the best story for everybody at this point is for the Knicks to lose. We all agree on that, right? That's the best story under these circumstances is for the Knicks to lose.
Why would that be the best story? A team that hasn't had a championship since 1973?
That's right.
Finally getting one?
No, that's not
That's the kind of story Oprah does after-school specials about. That's the greatest story of all.
No.
The Thunder have a title.
These rich people.
The Spurs have 3 titles.
They're 5.
The Knicks don't have any titles in the last 25 years. You got to stop hating on the rich.
Huh?
Stop hating on the rich.
Huh?
Start embracing New York. You no-good scallywag.
The UIM Formula One World Championship Series. We are over the moon excited about the upcoming season.
Let's go.
10,000 horsepower roars off the dock. Oh my, there's a problem. On the outside, side by side.
And he's lost control of the book. Hopes and dreams of winning here. Yes!
Get ready for round one. The Regione Sardegna Grand Prix of Italy, May 29th to 31st.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
Another team that is really, really, really difficult to play against is Ecuador. And people just think, Ecuador, like, you know, how much of a budget do they have or whatnot, right? But Ecuador are good. Like, I'm telling you, like, everybody's like, I don't want to have to face Ecuador. Like, that won't be fun. Like, there are a couple of these sleepers, but ultimately to win the World Cup, it's a lot like the NCAA tournament.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I don't own any stocks. I'm not an investor, but I can tell you a stock. I hope you sold it before the weekend, and that's a stock that's under the ticker of ENHA, which is short for the Enhanced Group Incorporated. You may have known that they are having an enhanced games, kind of like on Olympics for dudes maxed out on steroids, to try to prove to everyone that with medical science, the average athlete is going to outperform the clean athlete. You know, so the steroid athlete's stronger, faster, et cetera, than the athlete that doesn't use any of the stuff, right? Major failure this weekend. They had their first ever enhanced games. They aired on YouTube, by the way. And of all the different events, from like bench pressing and squatting and swimming and Olympic style events, how many records do you think the enhanced athletes set against the regular non-steroid using athletes?
Well, I know they're talking big. They were talking about 10, 11 of them. I'll go, let's say, a quarter of that because you brought it up. So let me say 3.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
By the way, I probably would have guessed the same. Maybe half even. I would have been not right. How about 0?
Yeah.
How about the fact that they had the enhanced games and the only record a steroid-using athlete broke it by 0.7 of a second was a swimming record. And the organizers of the event, the experts in swimming, we'll show you the video here, claim that the swimmer did not win because he was steroid
he wasn't on
enhanced.
steroids. No, he wasn't.
It's because he had a special suit on.
Right.
That I guess cuts down the friction in the water.
Yeah.
And that suit was outlawed 17 years ago by the Olympic body.
Now,
right?
Yes.
So the steroid people did not beat the non-steroid people in a single event.
Yeah.
They went over.
Yeah, like in that particular race, the guy who came in last was on the steroids and wore the suit.
Was the Jack guy,
the Jack dude came in last. He was on steroids and had the special suit on and still came in last.
Yeah. So their stock is at $2 right now, cratered, lost 50%. But it's actually... I guess it's kind of disappointing to me. I thought steroids would help you, certainly with strength. And I know they were doing the bench press.
Yeah.
And like the biggest steroid user, the bench press, was still like 75 pounds away from the record set by a guy that was not on steroids.
Yeah.
So I think we all learned a valuable lesson here. You don't need steroids to be a top-level athlete.
That's one of the lessons.
Someone should tell some baseball players that.
The other one that we learned is that a lot of top athletes don't want to risk putting some of those things in their bodies.
Okay.
Because you have to do it under a doctor's care, the ones that do it
theoretically,
well.
right?
You're supposed to. And what we noticed is there's some fringe guys that they thought, like Curly that won the 100 meters. By the way, his time that won that wouldn't qualify him for the Olympics. The World Championships, they've come out with the qualifying time. He wouldn't have qualified. He won it clean. The steroid guys all lost to him in track, too.
Yeah, I don't.
It's all over the place.
Maybe baseball is the only sport where steroids actually helps you. Because I watched a little bit of it. I did not watch all of it. It was kind of boring to me. Like, I'm watching events I don't care about unless it's the Olympics. And I want to see these steroid freaks dominate. And they embarrass themselves. So either we got to find bigger steroid freaks, right?
Yeah.
Or we have to come to the realization that just putting a needle in your ass does not make you a better athlete than a guy that does it naturally. Right?
Yeah, and clearly there's some diminishing returns. Now,
I was disappointed. I really was. Because I always say, when it comes to pro sports, I think steroids takes years off your life. I'm not sure if I can prove that or not, but it seems like if you abuse steroids, you're probably going to kill yourself.
Experts say that.
Yeah, and I applaud athletes for shortening their lives for my enjoyment. I think it's great. Like, if you're willing to live 5 years less to try to bring me a championship, I'll give you the needle. Like, more power to you.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable
I'm
with
fully supportive of baseball players doing steroids, football players doing steroids, NBA, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because you guys just entertainers to me. I get more joy out of my team winning than my team losing. So, like, when A-Rod was doing steroids and I was a fake Yankee fan, do more steroids. Matter of fact, in the 2000 World Series, when the Mets lost to the Yankees back then, I was a real Mets fan.
Yeah.
Mike Piazza got up against Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
Forget which game it was. Hit a ball in deep center field. Ball died on the warning track because he didn't do steroids that day. So to me,
he did.
I wish he did do steroids that day.
He did. That day. That thing doesn't get out the infield without the steroids.
That ball died because he did not juice that day.
Nah, he juiced.
So to me, again, I'm pro steroids when it comes to the people that entertain me because it gives me a chance to win a championship. And no one looks back and goes, "Oh yeah, you had a parade, but your left tackle was on steroids."
Oh, no one cares.
We celebrate the championship.
Of course.
So if a memo out there to all professional athletes on behalf of Tyrone Johnson and the Carton Show. Do more steroids.
No.
Do as many as you want, frankly.
Less.
I don't think they should even be outlawed
They should be
in
outlawed.
professional sports. The more, the better. I want a championship. Let's go, Knicks. Craig Carton Show. Great to have Tyrone Johnson here as well. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend. Remember Will Levis, the quarterback for the Titans?
Yeah.
By the way, what team is he on these days? Is he even in the NFL anymore?
I believe he is.
Can you guys fact check that for me anyway? Will Levis had a girlfriend named Gia Duddy. And I guess back in the day before he became an NFL star, well, I guess wannabe star, they made a sex tape together, okay? Mm-hmm. And then somebody, not her to be fair, somebody, I guess, got into his phone or his computer somehow, like some kind of like hacker, like a professional hacker, and decided to blackmail him and threatened to release the sex tape if he didn't pay them an undisclosed amount of money. And Will Levis, to be fair, to protect himself and to protect, he claims, Gia Duddy, you see a picture of her there, they're no longer dating, paid an exorbitant amount of money to this hacker to make sure that the hacker did not release or blackmail, I guess release the blackmail tape, which he had access to, of the sex tape. So when I first read that story, I said to myself, man, I'd love to know what an exorbitant amount of money is.
Yeah.
Because it's all relative. Like $100,000 to me and you is an exorbitant amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
To Jeff Bezos, it's nothing.
Right.
So to Will Levis, who has made a couple $1 million in his life, I'm not sure what an exorbitant amount of money is. But my first reaction to it, outside of wanting to know how much money, of course, was, what a great guy. That here's a sex tape that he did not release.
Right.
Neither did the ex-girlfriend. Some jackass blackmailer who's a world-class hacker has access to it. So to protect your former girlfriend, you go to extraordinary lengths to make sure that tape never sees the light of day. On the surface, oh, what a great guy. No?
Well,
on the surface.
Oh, okay, because that's not where my mind went first.
Okay, before I tell you the rest of the story, where did your mind go first?
How poor did he perform to where he did not want anyone to see it?
That was your initial take.
That was my initial take.
Not that he's a good guy.
No.
Not that he's showing that chivalry's not dead.
No.
Not that he calls Gia Duddy up and goes, look, I need you to know I'm being blackmailed. If I can make it go away, our mutual sex tape is going to be released. I'm not the one releasing it. I need you to know that. I think that's chivalristic.
Yeah, if my mind had went there, I would totally agree. My mind did not go there initially.
You're a bad guy.
I don't think I'm the bad guy.
That's where my mind went.
Okay.
What a fantastic guy he is.
Well, all right.
Okay.
Sure.
Turns out I was wrong.
Oh.
That's not the reason that Will Levis wanted to squash the release of his own sex tape with Gia Duddy, who, by the way, very attractive.
Not bad.
Very attractive. She's the gal that was with him at the draft, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That as he fell in the draft was like, I'm not sure if I can be bothered with this loser anymore.
Yeah, she got out of that as quick
and
as she
broke up
could.
with him quick, too.
Quick as she could.
Okay. It turns out that the entire sex tape is 8 seconds long.
Yeah. So I was right.
I think they took foreplay out of it.
Okay.
The entire sex tape, 8 seconds long.
I was right. He was so worried about his own game tape that he squashed it. He wasn't thinking about her.
Turns out, Tyrone, you were right.
Yeah.
It was not chivalristic. It was not to protect his ex-girlfriend.
No, it's not.
It was to protect himself.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
8 seconds long.
Now, come on,
Look,
bro.
I've had some bad nights. I've never had an 8-second night.
You can't have
I once dry humped for 37 minutes.
37 minutes.
37 minutes while drinking Bartles and James wine coolers. That's right.
That was peak at that time.
And doing shots of peppermint schnapps by the fireplace.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You were having like a,
Dude,
you were having a night, a
you
teenage
want to
night.
talk about rug burn? But I did it.
8 seconds.
37 minutes of dry humping in a pair of Levi's. They don't even make Levi's anymore.
They make Levi's. But
I don't know if they do or not.
They make Levi's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's still
8
on the
seconds.
Titans. He's on the Titans.
Is he on the Titans
He's
still?
been injured. He's been very hurt with his shoulder, but he's actually.
So he's the backup to Cam Ward?
He's Cam Ward's backup.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. I got to talk to Robert Saleh about that.
You can't keep him around your locker room.
8 seconds? No, but here's the thing. No one saw the tape. So he could claim, man, it wasn't 8 seconds. It was 8 minutes. Right, or something like that.
No, 8 minutes is fine.
So I agree, by the way. 8 minutes, I think, is longer than the norm, to be honest about it.
8 seconds is a problem.
I think the question becomes is, can you be the leader of men? Like, the NFL locker room is still a testosterone-laden place.
Yeah.
It might be the last bastion of real manhood on the planet. I don't know. But if a dude strolls in there and you want this guy to lead 52 other men, and those 52 other men who've probably been sexually active for a very long time know that you're an 8-second champ, I'm not sure if you could be my quarterback.
No, probably not.
Because I'll be out there, I'll be like in the slot. I'll be looking over at the quarterback like, man.
He ain't gonna read the defense.
Can't read the defense.
He's not gonna be ready.
Second.
I'm gonna sit down in his zone. He's not gonna know where I'm going. His zone, he's gonna think it's man.
He's gonna panic.
Although, if we think about what the goal of that is, and being that I started off saying he don't care nothing about that girl, and she probably didn't care nothing about him once he wasn't the first
she dumped
rounder.
him once he dropped in the draft. That's a true story.
He did get to the goal quick.
I guess that's one way to look at it.
He got to the goal quick.
So you're like first and 10 from the 25?
We not matriculating down the field. We making big plays. We going go routes. We making big plays out here.
Maybe.
We're not going up the field slow. The goal is a touchdown. 8-second drive on 3.
Maybe.
Put the hands in. 8-second drive on 3. Let's go.
And I thought that was an interesting story, and it turns out every time I try to think of the good in people, I'm reminded, don't. Everybody's got some kind of selfish agenda. Do not try to find the good in people at all. So I thought you'd enjoy that story.
I did a great deal.
Another quick story for you. The governor of New Jersey, people are calling her Mikey Muhammad. Not quite sure I get that, but her name is Mikey Sherrill.
All right.
Mikey Sherrill announced over the weekend that she wants to bring the Nets back to New Jersey. And New Jersey responded by saying, nobody wants them back. Does anybody really want the Nets back? Are we upset that we lost the Nets?
You shouldn't be.
Are we upset? And beyond that, I'm not sure if they're allowed to bring the Nets back.
No, they're happy in Brooklyn.
Not just that. They are. They're definitely happy.
And they
in
have a
Brooklyn.
long-term lease in the building.
By the way, the Nets, as bad as embarrassingly bad as they've been, if you check their attendance, it's top 10.
The building sells.
They do 16,000 plus every night.
Every night at the Barclays.
And they've not had a good team in forever. Matter of fact, in the decade or so now that they've been in Brooklyn, outside of that one little run where they thought they had something cooking, obviously with Harden and KD
and Kyrie,
which talent-wise they did. And obviously they didn't get past the second round and lost to Milwaukee when Kevin Durant had his foot on the line in a shot that would have maybe propelled them to an NBA final that year.
Mm-hmm.
They've been a bad team since they got to Brooklyn. Period. Stop. So I don't think there's a big outcry in New Jersey right now to bring the Nets back, which shows you sometimes that there are guys that are completely out of touch, and gals, or politicians, I really should say, that are completely out of touch with sports and sports fans. Like, it was embarrassing that New Jersey lost the Nets, 100% yes. Now, they did not sell well in New Jersey. There was not a lot of attendance in New Jersey. And going to Brooklyn was a major upgrade for the franchise, and that cannot be argued.
Yeah.
But for Mikey Sherrill to come out and say that, I love the idea of the Nets returning to New Jersey, and quote unquote, I've been pressing for that. The Nets are not leaving Brooklyn because even though they're second fiddle to the Knicks and always will be and have been, there's still a better cachet to the name Brooklyn than there is, as much as I love New Jersey and we both live there, to New Jersey.
You're right.
And that's just a fact.
You're absolutely
Can't be
right.
argued.
You're absolutely right about that. And what is she? I'm guessing she's thinking about the brief Jason Kidd, Kmart, Kittle.
Back-to-back NBA Finals appearances, I guess, right?
That's the only run you can really be attached to unless you're going all the way to the ABA.
Right.
And they weren't New Jersey then.
They're the New York Nets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They weren't even New
Dr.
Jersey.
J won a championship.
That's what I'm saying. They weren't even New Jersey then.
Yeah, so sometimes, I don't know. I don't mess in your politics. Don't mess in my sports. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm good with that.
Now we have
have to endure months of manufactured rumors about will he or won't he retire LeBron James. They are probably, Donnie, working on the Decision 2.0 for Amazon Prime as we speak. Is Jim Gray still around? But here is the beauty of the predictive markets. They make insufferable stories about insufferable people highly profitable.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Mattingly is doing a great job, clearly, right? They're 16-4 since he took over, but we have to remember when Rob Thompson took over for the Phillies and they went 65-46 back in 2022, he finished 5th in NL Manager of the Year that year. So could Mattingly win it? Of course, but he doesn't really have history on his side. I'm still on Don Kelly 15-1 to win Manager of the Year.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I want to take it back to 2017. 2017, so 9 years ago, there was a young baseball phenom who's 18 years old named Fernando Tatis. And at 18 years old, an adult, so the ability to sign a contract as an adult, he signed a deal with a company that gave him $2 million in exchange for 10% of his future baseball earnings for the next 25 years.
Wow.
All right. And this company, is a recognized company. It's called Big League Advance Fund, BLA for short. And they gave Fernando Tatis $2 million. Now, there's no guarantee that Fernando Tatis Jr. was ever going to become the player he became. So it was like, we're going to give you $2 million. We're going to take that risk that you're going to become a rock star. And when you do become a rock star, we get 10% essentially of all future earnings that you make. All right?
Yeah.
Fernando Tatis has a contract worth, let's just call it about $400 million. Yeah. With the San Diego Padres, meaning that he has to pay this BLA group $40 million. Okay?
Yeah.
He decided to sue them. And he sued them saying that it was an unfair contract and that he didn't know what he was doing, more or less. I'm paraphrasing all the stuff here. Yeah. And that he should not have to pay them 10% of all of his royalties and earnings over the course of 25 years. So it went to court. What do you think the judge said in court? Because the decision came down over the weekend.
Well, I've heard of some of these some people say predatory, some people say anticipatory contracts like this. Usually they hold up.
The contract.
Usually they do.
He was 18 years old, so he's legally consenting adult. He was not 17. That would have rendered it illegal or unenforceable because the minors, cannot sign a contract without an adult or a lawyer signing it on his behalf. So he went to court and he said, I don't want to pay them $40 million. And the judge said it's an enforceable contract. You owe them every penny that they deserve. They took a $2 million risk on you, and that risk is paying off. They made an investment in you before anyone knew that you were going to make that kind of money. And you signed a contract, maybe out of greed, I don't know. You signed the contract because someone handed you $2 million up front. And that's the risk they took. And BLA won the court case. They're now going to get 10% of all of his earnings for 25 years. So a minimum of $40 million. It might be closer to 60 or 70 when it's all said and done.
Wow. this is kind of wild. Now, one, what was Tatis Sr. doing at that time? Now, Tatis Sr. made $18 million during his run. Now, not the same kind of money, but he should have been well off enough to where his son didn't need $2 million right away.
For sure.
So, to me, this is a fail on Tatis Sr.'s part. Partially, because he should be able to tell him he's not like some of these other kids who are coming out of Cuba and coming out of the Dominican Republic with nothing. He was a kid who should, if his dad did the right thing, had some privilege in his life. Instead, maybe he didn't. So, fail on Senior's part.
By the way, I agree with you on that. Like, they weren't destitute.
No.
It wasn't like a stereotypical story of, a kid from Cuba, let's say, who comes here with just the clothes on his back and has not a penny to his name.
And some of those companies have people say they've
taken advantage of those guys.
They've taken advantage of some of those guys coming over where they're not used to having a house.
He was also educated.
Right.
Right? He grew up a wealthy kid.
Right. And then 18-year-olds, listen, 18-year-olds are adults. But you've had 18-year-olds.
Yes, they're not really.
They're not really adults.
The law sees them as adults.
Right, that's what I mean. So,
like, commit a crime at 18, you get tried as an adult.
Right.
Right?
You can go to the military.
Sign a contract
vote.
at 18.
Right.
You're going to be treated as the guy that signed a contract.
As an adult.
Yes.
But so while I understand him suing, I understand it. In his case, I blame the family and the people around him more than him.
Yeah, by the way, I have a problem with you on that.
At 18.
Now, my guess is he didn't go to his dad. But that's still
part of the deal.
Who's looking out for you?
That's what I mean. Like this guy was a top prospect.
He was one of the top prospects in baseball.
Right. I know the Phillies tried to get him. They got outbid. Quite a few teams. I think the Yankees were in on him pretty early. A lot of people knew about this kid. Why is he taking $2 million, knowing he had the potential to earn the $400 million that he's earning? That's a big mistake to me by the family. And I guess kudos to that company, though, because now they're
making money on the investment.
Look at the ROI.
So the way the BLA looks at it is, hey, we gave you $2 million in 2017. It's 9 years later.
Right.
And we want to get paid.
Right. And had he
they're right.
And I'm looking at it, had he not made the majors or not made money, he would not have had to pay it back. That's the risk on their end. So let's say he had just been a quad A player, he would not have had to pay them. You only have to pay them if you do make it. So there is risk on their side.
I think they took a $2 million risk, and it might have been a calculated risk because of who his dad was.
Pedigree,
and he was a phenom, obviously, coming up.
Right.
But the judge ruled against him in favor of that company. And I think, in his case, I don't think it's predatory. Because, like you said, his dad made $20 million.
Yeah, it's not. This one isn't. Like when they do with some of these other kids.
You take a kid off a boat in Cuba,
right,
who doesn't speak English, and doesn't know any better. That's predatory.
Right.
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 This kid, I don't think it's predatory at all.
It wasn't.
Couple of the baseball things for you while we're on it. Bryce Harper is a certifiable nut job.
Yeah, I don't like this.
I don't know if you guys have the video of this up to show it.
I can't
This
defend
is the guy that you love.
I can't
This is
defend
Bryce
this.
Harper videotaping himself trying to put toothpaste out of toothbrush. Let's watch.
Like, what are you doing? All right. So up until this point, I'm with it. What are you doing?
Yeah. Bit off the top. Did not open up a thing of toothpaste. That's your guy.
You put it on the toothbrush.
He did not put the toothpaste on the toothbrush. He bit it open and then put the toothpaste in his mouth and then started brushing. Meaning he's got bad breath. That's what I think out of that. And he's also a serial killer.
That's what
possibly.
Those are tendencies.
No proof to that, of course, but it's certainly possible that he's a complete loop job.
If he ever got accused, you would use that in court.
Yes.
As to set the tone.
I agree.
For its character.
Third baseball story for you today. Remember how the San Francisco Giants, by the way, one of the worst teams in baseball, 11 games out of first place behind, the Dodgers, I guess?
Yeah.
Remember they had that circle jerk celebration?
Yeah.
That was very, kind of homoerotic.
Yeah, I remember.
For lack of a better term, that a lot of people are like, I don't like that. I'm homophobic, that kind of stuff. And they were like, all right, we'll change it. These guys, and I don't know what else to say about it, I think might have a relationship. Watch this one.
All right.
Watch this. Here we go. And boom. And
what? Oh, what? Wow.
So they went from a circle jerk to that, to the air jerk.
A little pump.
What is their fascination with penis in the face?
Might be what they like.
Like, I don't.
You shouldn't yuck their yum. It's what they like. Don't yuck their yum.
Can you do me a favor when it comes to that act? Not say yuck and yum in the same sentence, please?
It's their yum.
Like, not for nothing, but what the F is wrong with you people? are just tuning in, the New York Knicks are Eastern Conference Final champions. Jalen Brunson's your Larry Bird Trophy winner, and they advance to the NBA Finals. And I say it all the time. Don't listen to all the nonsense out there about you haven't won anything yet, or wait till you see the Thunder, the Spurs, different ball game. Enjoy it in the moment. If you're worried about the NBA Finals, you're not enjoying this in the moment. There's no guarantee of what's going to happen in the NBA Finals. You'd hate to look back and go, I didn't enjoy the ride there because I was so worried about the next round. You have to enjoy the fact that the New York Knicks, if I may stand up here for a second, the New York Knicks took broom to ass in Philadelphia. That one's yours, Tyrone.
I don't know nothing about that.
Broom to ass. Broom to ass. Broom to ass. And if that wasn't enough, here come the Cleveland Cavaliers. And what the Knicks do to the Cavaliers? Broom to ass. Broom to ass. Okay? Broom to ass. That's what they did.
That broom pretty dirty.
That was a little dirty right there.
That was a little dirty.
That's as dirty as Kenny Atkinson saying, we won the analytical battle, moron.
Now, today's Tuesday because of the holiday.
Yeah.
Does he have a job Friday, Kenny?
It's a great question, by the way. Because
the draft comes quick. Are you going to get your people lined up?
Not just the draft.
Off-season comes quick.
But the idea of what's Donovan Mitchell and James Harden doing, and are you going after a guy like LeBron? Yeah. If not LeBron, but somebody like him.
You need a veteran guy that's going to take less money to try to
do
bridge
those guys want to play for Kenny Atkinson?
After what he just pulled.
Yeah. Now, James Harden came out and said, we were the better team. You lost by 30 points a game, kid.
Come on.
Kenny Atkinson said we won the analytical battle.
Come on.
You lost by 30 points a game.
Come on.
So it's just fascinating how they have tried to kind of like, and it's kind of like what the world is now, right?
Yeah.
Like when your kid loses a game, oh, it's the ref's fault. Oh, the other team cheated. Oh, they're flopping. Take some responsibility. Yeah. You got embarrassed by what I said from Jump Street was the better team. No harm in that. No shame in that. You won 2 Game 7s on the road to get there. No shame in that game. You just went up against a bustle. Yeah. Now, if you tell me that they had won Game 1 and not choked away the 22-point lead with 7 minutes to go, I still think the outcome would have been what it would have been. But obviously, the rest of the series maybe becomes more competitive.
Right.
Because the Knicks are down 1-0, having lost Game 1 at home. Right. So the series might have been different as far as how many games it took. But the Knicks right now in the moment are a juggernaut, the likes of which we've never seen before, ever, by anybody.
Yeah, and I have to give Jalen Brunson,
Thank
even though
you.
I don't want to give the Knicks
Greatest
credit.
point guard in basketball right now.
Jalen Brunson.
Not for debate.
But I will say he's doing something we've only seen, as far as his points per game average. There's only two other players in the history of his size that's ever done it, and that's Curry and Iverson.
Yes.
They're the only other guys that size that have done it.
He hasn't played in the fourth quarter of all 3 of the Knicks elimination games because they were up by so many points.
So many points.
That's never happened either.
It's unbelievable the run that he's on, and I got to give Leon Rose credit.
Yes.
You have a guy where you have a bunch of stars where none of them were drafted by the Knicks. They went and acquired these guys piece by piece by piece.
That's right.
And look at this squad. What a job by him.
That's right. Karl Anthony Towns obviously gave up Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo.
Yep.
That's a lot to give up for a guy that had the narrative about him where not good enough to carry a team.
Yep.
Right? So in any event, I want to congratulate.
Totally different if you win a title. Totally different, that Bridges trade. I don't care how many firsts you give up to win a title.
No one's complaining about 5 first-round picks now.
Don't care.
Bridges became a rock star.
That's right.
From Game 4 on in round 1 against the Atlanta Hawks. I want to say this, and please put this out there. I want to congratulate my dear friend James Dolan and Leon Rose. They have put together a badass basketball team. Now, it may have taken them 85 games to find themselves.
Doesn't matter.
I think there's some truth to that, but it doesn't matter. They found themselves in time, and they are playing great basketball, not good basketball. And one of the greatest things yesterday, if you kept the TV on to watch the trophy presentations, and I thought this was great. Neither James Dolan nor Leon Rose accepted a trophy.
Absolutely right.
They let the players
and the coach
and Mike Brown, the coach, get their moment. Because while James Dolan writes everybody's check and Leon Rose is the architect of all of it, they're not the guys shooting the ball, playing defense. And there's a lot of owners and a lot of general managers team presidents that would have wanted that spotlight for themselves. And I give James Dolan credit for that. I give Leon Rose credit for that. They let the players and the coach have their moment because it was their moment. Now, before I let you go today, I got about 45 seconds? I saw one of the rudest things the casino's ever done to a blackjack dealer.
What happened?
Give me the video real quick. How is this guy supposed to deal blackjack? Okay?
Oh, come on.
He don't have any hands.
This can't be real. This is real?
Yeah. Not only is it real, they got mad at him for how he was dealing.
Well, how else is he going to deal?
They start beating on the guy.
This can't be real.
Yeah, it's real.
Come on.
An armless, handless blackjack dealer.
Come on.
We could be better, Duel. Have a great day. Go Knicks.